Welcome, weary traveler. You have traveled far and long to be here. I can see it in your eyes. Have a seat. Get some rest. Let me tell you a story. Today, we will be discussing the Adepta Sororitas. A note. In the grim dark of the far future, there is only war. And misinformation. So, if something lines up differently than your understanding, you might be watching the Fox News of the 41st millennium. For the benefit of the uninformed or otherwise uninitiated, the Adepta Sororitas is an all-female division of the Ecclesiarchy, the official church of the Imperium. Basically the Catholics of the galaxy. To understand how an all-female order came to be, we must go back to the 36th millennium. Up until this time, female servants of the imperial cult and the Ecclesiarchy could be found throughout the Imperium, serving a variety of roles from ministers and preachers to bodyguards and enforcers of imperial law. However, a mostly unknown, all-female warrior cult known simply as the Daughters of the Emperor was discovered on San Lior. Basically nothing was known about this cult or their origins. At its peak, their numbers reached merely 500 members. But something was about to change. During the same period, Gog Vandire, a charismatic and ambitious man showing himself to be a devout servant of the Emperor, rose through the ranks of the church hierarchy, eventually becoming the spiritual advisor to the reigning ecclesiarch. He began using his position to gain wealth and influence. He would eliminate any potential rivals. Gog Vandire saw the need for a dedicated military force to protect the ecclesiarchy and enforce its authority under his command across the Imperium. He began by recruiting the aforementioned Daughters of the Emperor. He continued to recruit women from across the galaxy to serve in this group of enforcers. In doing so, he formed a personal guard of fanatically loyal soldiers. From then on, they were Vandire's bodyguards and closest companions, and he renamed them the Brides of the Emperor. They were tasked with enforcing his will and crushing any opposition to his rule. They would perform any task that their lord wanted, at any time. As an example, when the Ecclesiarchy made an assassination attempt on Vandire, the brides entered the meeting chamber of the treacherous cardinals and locked the doors behind them, eventually emerging with the heads of every cardinal present. Vandire's insatiable desire for power and control began to lead him to betray the very principles he once claimed to uphold. As we all know, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And as a result, Vandire became increasingly tyrannical. He created a political crisis that threatened to completely divide the Imperium. Vandire's reign of terror became known as the Age of Apostasy, and it was marked by widespread corruption, brutality, and religious persecution. As his madness became more apparent, an elite strike force of Space Marines made an assault against Vandire. They faced the newly formed Brides of the Emperor. Geared in power armor and wielding bolters, their passion they fought with even shocked the Astartes. Though the assault lasted months and bore heavy casualties, the brides withstood the fierce attacks of the Space Marines. Finally, a custodian of a small regiment reached the ecclesiarchal palace and was confronted by the leader of the brides, Alicia Dominica. He appealed to her, ultimately convincing her of the evil she was serving. Her realization of how far Vandire perverted their beliefs made her furious. Under her leadership, the brides denounced the name Brides of the Emperor and became, once again, the Daughters of the Emperor. Alicia Dominica and her sisters confronted Vandire in his own chambers. They denounced him and condemned him to die. Vandire spoke and said, "I have time to die. How's she busy?" Alicia responded by beheading him with her power sword. And thus ended the tyrannical reign of Gog Vandire. Afterwards, the Ecclesiarchy was racked by internal conflict, and the Adeptus Ministorum was weakened by the treachery of its leaders. To prevent a similar crisis from occurring in the future, the organization underwent a period of restructuring and reorganization. Under the new Ecclesiarch, the Daughters of the Emperor were reorganized into the Adepta Sororitas, replacing the Templars as the defenders of the Ecclesiarchy. Alicia Dominica is revered by the Sisters of Battle as a founding saint of their organization. Her teachings and example are central to their beliefs and values, and they continue to inspire the sisters to fight with unshakable devotion and unwavering courage in the Imperium. And now you know how the Adepta Sororitas came to be. Did I forget something? Feel free to inform me, for as we all know, history is written by the victor, and the truth is ever-changing. What should we dive into next? Comment below. Until we meet again under starlight. Side note, if this goes well, better cape with like a fucking like one of them good cape connector chain things. Hot. I'll find one of the Ecclesiarchy, the official church of the fuck. Or I'll write a strongly worded letter to whoever named this asshole Gog. How can you be charismatic with a name like fucking Gog? I want to talk to his mother. From then on, they were vampires, closest companions and bodyguards. Woo, Dracula. Okay. I just called this motherfucker vampire when the Ecclesiarchy made an assassination attempt on Vandar. Ecclesiarchy made an assassination. You know? Just me. All right. Confronted Valon. I always want to say Valandre. There's no L in there. It's just a cooler name. And the asbestos. Asbestos? I'm making muffins as best as I can. Ugh.